Hello and welcome to another edition of City at Your Service. I'm Jonathan Thomas and I am joined by Marisa Campbell from 311, and she's going to tell us all about some changes, some great changes to the 311 app. You know, the last episode we did on 311 was a pretty popular one, so
Awesome.
excited to hear about these changes, Marisa.
Yeah, thank you for having me back. It's very good to be here today because we get to talk about our Spanish mobile app that's now available. So it's a huge step in the community, removing those language barriers. So I'm excited to talk about it with y'all.
Absolutely. Now, so kind of just exactly, when did this change go into effect and what does it entail?
Yeah, so we really started pushing this in January about the new mobile app. So it's the exact same app except it's translated completely into Spanish now. So like I said, it's removing that language barrier and just making sure that all of our requesters are able to receive um, everything that they need in their preferred language. So it's just one step closer to being accessible to everybody in the community.
No, that's great. And so it's not a just want to reiterate, it's not anything you have to re-download or anything like that. Is and if you haven't downloaded the app, download it and
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
and
definitely.
and it
It's
definitely
helpful.
can.
It's helpful. Yeah, so it's the like I said, same app, except now when you are submitting your service request, it's in Spanish, so you don't have to download a different app. If your phone language settings are in Spanish, it's gonna download in Spanish for you. So we've had a lot of people come to us and say like, "Hey, how do I get it in Spanish?" Because they're seeking that. And we say, as long as you change your phone language settings in Spanish, then you're gonna get it in Spanish. So it's not something you have to go seek out to download. It's just already right there for you.
Okay, great. And is there anything else different about the Spanish version? Is there another feature or added features to it?
So it's exactly the same. We didn't add any features. It's going to be the same interface that users are used to, except we have gone through it and translated everything. Made sure we spent a whole year on the project, making sure that these translations were correct. Making sure that it was sent off to the correct city department correctly. So we really put a lot of time and effort into that. And then we did about 6 months of a soft launch too, just to make sure that all of those bugs, everything was worked out. So now it's completely ready for the public, and we're excited that people are using it. We've had a really good response with it too.
Great. Yeah, let's get into that a little bit with the soft launch. What all did you notice? What did people like about it? What were some things that needed to be tweaked during the soft launch? Kind of just what was that experience like?
Yeah, I think as far as things that just needed to be tweaked, making sure that, we had accents where it was appropriate to have accents, making sure that it was 100% correct because we didn't want to, go in and have little things missing because it's important to be able to reach the Spanish speaking community exactly how they need to be reached. Um, so we realized that Austin was one of the most widely spoken languages, Spanish was one of the most widely spoken languages in Austin, and we got a request from city council members to make that change to make the app available in Spanish. That's something that we really wanted to achieve, and we're really excited that we did.
Oh, that's great. That's great. And do you know how many people got the like what does the soft launch entail in terms of, is there just like a sample group of people, like of 10 or so, and you give them that version of the app and they can, they give you their feedback, or is it more people? Kind of how does that entail, or is it just some trusted people on your staff?
So, we didn't send it out as a test or anything like that, but we did have it out there. We had it available. So people, we weren't advertising that it was out there. We just had it kind of sitting. We had it there. But we were still watching it, making sure, that it was going to be ready. So we wanted to improve our requester experience, and ultimately, I think that's why we had the 6 month trial, or not really trial, but it was like a soft launch. We held it kind of quiet because we just wanted to see how it performs, um, in a sense of just having it out there available but not pushing it.
And obviously, it performed, pretty well. What were some of the big, compliments, and things that people really liked about it that they've seen so far?
Yeah, I think just meeting people where they're at, understanding that it's very important to have these resources available in Spanish, especially being the hub of Austin, information and resources. We want to make sure, like I said, that we are reaching people where they're at, and putting out an app in Spanish is was very important to us, so that everybody that needed to submit in Spanish, that it was done so in their preferred language.
All right, now let's kind of get a little bit more into the purpose of this app and 311 and everything, just kind of reiterating some stuff. Because again, people, you hear 311, you see it on every side, every bus sign, everything everywhere you see it,
Trash can.
call, yeah, trash cans, call 311, dial 311. 311 is for non-emergencies, correct? And
Correct.
just really just anything you see out there that you feel it should be made aware of, you go ahead and call that number and it'll get taken care of, correct?
Correct. Yeah. So 311 is the non emergency number for the city of Austin. We also have a 10-digit alternative number, and that's for anybody who is outside of the city limits. And that's 512-974-2000. So if that one's a little harder to remember just because it's 10
Yeah,
digits, but
512-974-2000.
yeah, there you go. That's it.
Yeah, there you go.
So we got both of those numbers, and we are 24/7. So of anything non-emergency related, if it is related to the city, there is most likely a service request that can be submitted for it. So whether that's sidewalk repair, if you've had missed garbage, if there is, a city tree that's about to fall over into your property, just things like that. If you need to report an outage, you can call 311, all of that good stuff.
And have you noticed, an uptick in response and calls to 311?
Not necessarily an uptick. I think we're pretty busy year round. I do know we amp up a little bit when we get around music festival time, and that's starting to come up.
Right around the
So
corner.
we're ready for those calls. We always prepare with the right amount of call ambassadors. So we're prepared for that. But we really a lot of the things that we see, are just typical day to day stuff that you see a missing stop sign. It's a really good idea to call 311 to make sure that that gets reported, or if there's a hole in the sidewalk, or if there's a missing lid on a manhole cover, all stuff that you think, oh, who takes care of that? Well, you call 311 and submit a service request, and then we send that out to the correct department, and they go and they investigate it, and then ultimately they resolve it.
Yep, and again, very easy to do in the app. Now, in terms of the, Spanish part that just got updated, how do you access that? How would one access that Spanish section?
Yeah. So when you submit your service request in Spanish, it gets sent over to the city department in Spanish. They actually have tools that will translate that into English. It will show up in English and Spanish. And then, based on however the inspector or whoever it is that works your service request at the city department, however they respond back to it, whether if it's in English or Spanish, when it goes back into the notes, it's back in Spanish. So there's no language gap where it's going to be if you submit in Spanish, you get something back in English. It's completely full circle all the way through. You're going to get that full experience in Spanish.
Okay, that sounds great. That sounds great, Marissa. And anything else, that you feel like people should know about this edition of the app, or just the app in general, even the English part?
Yeah, well, so we have multiple ways to submit. So it doesn't just have to be by calling through in one or through the app. You can also go online to our Citizen One portal, and you could submit a service request there too. So there's three different ways. Of course, my favorite is the app because you get to submit pictures, and a lot of the times pictures can be very helpful.
Yes.
Even though we've got the locator where you can pinpoint your location, which is great. It's a great tool on the app. But when you are able to send a picture and say, like, hey, Austin Resource Recovery or Public Works, this is exactly what the issue is, it's just very helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's nothing like being able to just see it,
Yeah.
and then that way you can get taken care of, and everyone will know what you're talking about.
Yep, yep, it's a great service, that's my favorite way, but, of course, I've called before too, and everybody's got their preferred way, and we get a lot of people on our social media saying like, "Hey, this is wrong, can somebody tell me what to do about it?" And so our communications team, we're on our socials very frequently, we respond very fast, and we let people know the correct avenue to take to report those issues.
All right, well, last call. Anything else we should know about this before we let you go? Cut.
Follow us, and don't be afraid to call Austin 311, even if you're not sure if it's an emergency or if it's not an emergency, you can give us a call and we will let you know.
And where can they follow you?
You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and X at ATX3 or Austin 311.
All right. And again, reiterating 311 in the city limits, out of the city limits, 512-974-2000.
Yeah.
I just,
Perfect.
I just wanted to show off that
Yeah.
first. So somebody
That's
look.
good.
Well, thank you so much for joining us once again, Marissa Campbell. We really appreciate it. Marissa Campbell from Austin 311. I'm Jonathan Thomas, and this has been another edition of City at Your Service. Have a great one.